I would like to invite Ms. Srishti Srivastava. Ms. Srishti is currently working as a business development associate for Fashion Snoops, which is a US-based trend and design forecasting platform. She works with South Asian stakeholders and helps them stay relevant with key industry trends in fashion and innovation. A design graduate from NIFT, she is involved in developing utility-driven products for premium segment by closely studying major design shifts and trends in the market, and has been instrumental in leading projects for various international clients. Her presentation is on sustainability as a driver of future trends and materials. I now hand over the dais to Ms. Shruti.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for being here, and thank you AEPC for organizing this event for Fashion Snoops. I feel very fortunate to share the same room as one of the biggest industry leaders present here. And yes, let's start. Are we okay? I think like Prashant and Gaurav, everyone was discussing about sustainability, and I understood how important the topic is, since fashion, since design is so much impacted by like the current fashion trends are so much now focused, they are more focused towards sustainability, and we see the future adopting sustainability in innovation or when it comes to material. So the topic is so huge that Fashion Snoop has been tracking how it will play as a vital role in the entire fashion landscape in the coming 3 to 5 years. So in this presentation, we will discuss how sustainability will gel up and it will work around with design, and it will act as a driver for all future trends and materials. Throughout modern history, everything we have, we wear and use has been fabricated from matter, either sourced naturally or synthetically. You could say by synthetically, I mean engineered from innovation. Now, today, a growing ecosystem of, you could say, farmers, scientists, engineers, I'm sure there are engineers present here, manufacturers, suppliers, designers, and artisans. They're shifting their focus and they're prioritizing sustainability as the single most important component of all future design thinking. Now, taking material concepts such as sustainability, craft, expression, wellness, and tech as various points to take into account, future-facing innovation and solutions reimagine how matter can be designed, it can be reused, and it can be reimagined. We are going to talk about these 10 key movements here, very inspirational 10 movements that will talk about how design and tech are coming together. And we are going to talk about the specifics of sustainability, the specific movements we are seeing. It's going to be a great session, and I'm sure there will be a lot of things to take away from this. A little about Fashion Snoop. Fashion Snoop has been in the business from the last 22 years. It's a US-based trend forecasting platform, and we are serving 50 countries across the globe so far. And we are catering to markets like fashion, beauty and wellness, food and drinks, media, and other consumer-facing segments. Here we have 10 specific key movements like I shared. It says ethical foundations, low impact, backtree, consciously renewed, streamlined process. We are also going to talk about empowered well-being, rendered to real, material purity, skillful mastery, and material morphology. If I would really like everyone to take notes because these are very important topics. And Fashion Snoops, since it's strongly backed by AI, and we have like 200 plus experts sitting who are constantly tracking what are the changes happening in the fashion landscape, or not just the fashion landscape, you can say what are the changes happening across, what are shifts happening across the industry. Sustainability is one of them, and that's how we have come up with these points for you to note down, for you to just gel up with your strategy and include in your future design process and manufacturing process. Yes. First one we have here is ethical foundation. Now, why are we starting with ethical foundation? I intentionally kept it as the first topic, considering how a foundation is the basis to everything we see these days, and how it is vital for good design. If you create a good foundation, you will be able to carry forward all of your rest of your processes in the same direction, right? So you can say a foundation, like I said, should be very strong to begin with. And why are we talking about going back to the basic ethical? By ethic we mean honest approaches. We are going back to the honest foundation levels. We are going back to these things because in this age of accelerating, you can say biodiversity loss, global production pressures, and increased stressed ecosystems. All these factors are resulting in us wanting to take an approach where nature is protected, and thriving requires thoughtful and reparative solutions for you to work on. And these things takes us back to the basics where how we can see it, suppliers are now rethinking their methods. What suppliers are doing is they're rethinking from the foundation level, that let's say farming monocultures. So what farming monoculture means is on the same piece of land year after year we are growing the same piece of crop. They are also rethinking, relinquishing their toxic pesticide legacy. So these pesticides have resulted in the last 40 years and a loss of 1/3 of global arable land. So, what are suppliers going to do now? Is the question, right? We have smartly tracked how the industry, the suppliers are now taking the approach. They're going back to those techniques that were so, till now, they were suppressed by this industrial farming methods. And for example, organic and regenerative means of growing, which is basically an outcome-based food production system, and it helps in restoring soil health. It helps in farms' productivity and efficiency. So these are these foundational approaches are becoming more broader business priorities, and brands are recognizing this. Brands are basically discovering how their products can add greater value and how it can create an ecosystem of ethical change for the betterment of all human beings. We have a few examples here. First one says natural infrastructure will re-enter the mainstream as future repurposing becomes a crucial priority. Why are we saying this is, we have seen that these natural, let's say timber, so it's a very important component in architecture these days. And why is that? Is because these natural elements, they tend to sequester carbon, they tend to isolate carbon, and they optimize the after process. You can say demolition. They ease the process, and then you can reuse the entire structure. So that's why we have kept it here as number one. Then we have leveraging agri-waste and composting materials will become a standard practice and definitely a top priority. Regenerative farming will help safeguard the viability of natural resources. Again, like I said, as brands are prioritizing raw materials that are grown and they are cultivated through through regenerative means. Why? Because our generation today is Gen Zs, like we heard in the fireside chat. Gen Zs and millennials, we are becoming more conscious, we are becoming more brand aware. And we want to purchase from the brand we trust, and we want more transparency with the brand. So in the similar line, brands are recognized this, and they are prioritizing regenerative farming and reaching out to suppliers who are following ethical processes. So that was about ethical foundations. Next we have is low impact. Now when I talk about low impact, it means bringing down the carbon emissions. It means working on more traceability. It means working on transparency. So a new level we can see in sustain. We have already worked on, like we have already discussed. We see there is a lot of sustainable material engineering is happening. But now we have reached a new level to it. Now it demands more. What does it demand? It demands more, transparency and traceability and all of these factors. But among these, a very interesting point is to note here is energy. As material industries set their sights on these new low impact offerings that pull on multiple sustainable considerations. I did some research and I found out to include in this presentation is carbon emissions from the industry are dominated by production of goods in cement, steel, plastic, paper, and of course textile. And we are talking about textile here. Demand for these materials is anticipated to double by 2050. Now, if they are doubling in the next few years, in the next upcoming years, we need to do something about, as the demand is growing, we need to lower down the emissions that exist already, right? So, what do suppliers have? What choice do they have? Here, a key takeaway is we need to devise new and low impact alternative measures to stay competitive. The entire conversation is focused on harnessing renewable and traceable solutions. Suppliers are motivated to explore a new generation of fuels through sequestered CO2. We are also seeing embedded trackers for transparent fiber supply chain, while brands aim to enhance material efficiency through recyclable and product and packaging initiatives. The overall conclusion here is, as we race towards framing these net zero strategies, the importance of material will become even more imperative in cracking the code of circularity. Definitely plays a very important role. A few examples here. We have refillable and DIY components will improve packaging with a smaller footprint. We have consumers will expect traceable and tech transparency, again to increase consumer awareness about the complexities of sourcing. And we have carbon will become a leading renewable resource. I read somewhere yesterday that engineers are now practicing their coming with this innovative technology. They're working on solutions where they're transforming this captured CO2 and they're creating diamonds out of it, and they're creating yarn. They're creating prints for inks for printing. So I thought I should include that here. It's very relatable and very interesting. Third we have is battery. So as the word says, we are talking about two terms merged together. It's bacteria and factory. I would like to mention the area of focus here is biodesign systems. Now, what does it mean? What does biodesign system mean, and why do you want to know that? So biodesign system is closed loop system with a zero waste policy that incorporates the use of living materials into structures, objects, and tools, and is an emerging and often radical approach to design. It is quickly becoming robust economic engines of growth, sustainability, and innovation. Now let's put it simply. Biodesign system, we're talking about vegan leather. We're talking about alternatives to leather, or let's say silk, polyester. So as market evaluations continue to skyrocket, breakthrough transdisciplinary work between designers and scientists. So they both are coming together and they are coming with this category of next generation material. By bio leather, when we say, we call it vegan leather, we call it vegan fabric, vegan material. So these are all categorized under next generation materials. But there are a few challenges. These challenges are, as these bio startup suppliers are working on these things, are working to scale it from concept to innovation, they're facing a problem. Maturation, proof of concept, all these factors have been so far affecting the rise and the such. Why not everyone is able to incorporate these methods in their design processes, in their manufacturing processes? Is because we are facing, since we don't know a lot about this particular subject right now, we are working on it, and bio startup suppliers are facing these issues. But thankfully, so far these materials have been a hit across luxury and mass market fashion sectors who have the capital, consumer interest, and definitely resources to commit. The takeaway here is, as more brands consider the potential of these next-gen materials like bacterial pigments, algae, and most prominently lab-grown leathers, we can see how laboratories now may become the most promising way forward for material manufacturing. We have a few examples here. Algae and seaweed will drive innovation in energy and packaging. Algae has a very interesting ability I would like to mention here, is that it grows at a faster rate than the plants. Could be a great alternative to create products. Another ability it has, it converts sunlight into energy, could be used for biofuel here. And then, of course, its biodegradable quality could be used for packaging and all of these things. Next is lab-grown pigments will offer a chemical-free solution to dyeing. So far, we have been following a very conventional approach, which results in an extensive water and chemical usage. Now we are coming up with microbial chemistry, where we are growing color through fermentation. So all the color dyeing happening in textile industries can maybe experiment with these techniques. Then we have the adoption of bio-derived leathers will continue accelerating into new markets. Again, vegan leather, polyester, silk, fur, we are talking about. Fourth topic we have here is consciously renewed. Now, when we say the word renewed, what comes in mind is reusing, regenerating. So, a shift towards adaptive newness in which design strategies will prioritize reuse and regenerate wastages into new fibers and materials. A little backstory here is, at a time of rising input costs from raw material, which are at least up to 44% now, now suppliers are thinking, we already have these pre-existing material waste that could be valuable. Why are we not using it, right? Then definitely this point is for suppliers, who have the infrastructure to collect, they have the infrastructure to sort and regenerate these wastages and create new fibers and materials. A great opportunity here. So far, widening environmental efforts continue to normalize the notion that there is no such thing as trash, only wasted resources in the wrong place. So, brands have begun radically transforming their existing manufacturing processes, upcycling offcuts and dead stocks through value-added repairability programs in hopes of easing down our growing waste epidemic. Now as we have come to accept the reality that future generations will inherit what the problems, all the problems we don't resolve from our end, right? So waste repurposing will become a crucial aspect here, and a more common and economically sound avenue for brands who want to create more meaningfully and resourcefully. Examples here are repairing damaged products with dead stock and off-cut fabrics will provide a meaningful solution to production waste. Waste will become the new artistic medium through, you can say, upcycling methods and creative methods. Now, in this second point, especially, design comes into action. How creatively you can convert these into beautiful products that we will still buy. Fibers made from regenerated textile waste may become a more competitive alternative to virgin resource. There's produced by and pioneered by Renewcell, a company. There's a item we say, circulose. It's an alternative fiber generated from cotton-rich clothing waste that aims to eventually outpace its competitors. And the outcome is 100% biodegradable and entirely circular. We have here a streamlined process. I'm sure there is a lot of conversation on this particular topic going on right now in the industry. How effective we can become. All the brands are trying to be more effective in their approach, right? Streamlining talks about that. A little overview here is, as brands and suppliers navigate to next frontier of manufacturing, streamlining becomes a top priority. Providing an innovative pathway towards improved quality, speed, and efficiency to increase revenue. A lot of cost cutting and everything, not just for the cost cutting part, but it's time to streamline all the processes and be more smart with our approach in the industry, as India wants to. Like I heard in the conversation in the morning how Prashant mentioned India has to game up and they need to be more effective. So streamlining is definitely a very interesting point I personally liked. But a problem here from a fashion perspective is the outdated modes of making that have largely remained the same for generations. They are ready for a fresh start, especially in this age of fast fashion and increasingly fickle consumerism. What are the solutions we are seeing in the industry? Fashion Snoops has tracked that we are now seeing fully fashioned garments being transformed into finished goods within one mechanized process. So instead of a typical multi-stage process where there is yarn spinning, then there's weaving, knitting, cutting, and sewing. Now there's an entire a single process under which you can get finished goods in one go. They are fully fashioned. We are cutting down on the multiple procedures here. We are making the process more effective, more efficient. So this is what it was about. Second, we are seeing on a larger scale an ongoing movement of 3D printed architecture continues to revolutionize the speed and future costs of construction. Then we have future-facing processes from non-woven tech to 4D weaving are devised to decouple and collapse supply chain operations for greater efficiency, providing the potential to dramatically advance timelines, waste reductions, and output. So moving forward, we can say that suppliers have no choice but to question their current practices and consider all-in-one tech that could soon outspace their predecessors. The opportunities we have here is, like I mentioned, fully fashioned garments will collapse the entire supply chain into fewer processes. 3D printed houses will be the suburbs of the future. This second point especially is a result of instability in the housing market due to rising the cost of raw materials and material constraints, time pressures, and population growth. Then third point is non-wovens will propose energy and time saving solution. Now the non-woven industry is expanding its reach, right? It has been a leading category in all of the markets. when you talk about apparels, it has taken a backseat, unfortunately. But Nike's, I want to give you an example here is Nike's latest line. It's like a forward line that challenged this and They came up with this innovation where they're using this needle punching technique to produce non-woven garments suitable for sports and plays. Next we have is empowered well-being. This point captures well-being because now as Gen Zs, we all, not just Gen Zs, but people are becoming more health conscious, we can say. They are taking care of their well-being. They want to make everything they do where they want to include a part. Let's say if I'm wearing a piece of garment, I want some qualities in it that will help me with or that would add value in my mind, that would help me with my thinking in the morning, or maybe you could say it would make me feel good, or maybe I want to buy something that before bed, if I'm sleeping on that bed sheet, that fabric that makes me sleep well. So all of these examples we can relate here. Empowered well-being is the wearable wellness movement is now projected to 4.98 billion by 2027 and is definitely, certainly here to stay. So we are seeing an overly saturated performance market where material approaches towards single aspect won't be enough. The solution we have been seeing is new fiber and finish approaches that offer a deeper connection to well-being. As a way of optimizing real value for finished goods, suppliers will need to devise materials that are more comforting and allied by other benefits. Again, the offerings have to be highly intuitive and sensitive, from purification and sensory friendly constructions to intelligent fiber properties. Consumers are leaning into a new level of wellness that emphasizes an integrated view of mind, body, and soul. In supporting and empowering these individuals, brands should continue to leverage materials with high sensing approaches that cater to a broader spectrum of needs. A few emerging opportunities we can see in this category especially is wearable wellness will be the new luxury. Purification will become the new wellness standard, and sensory friendly materials will be the cornerstone of comfort and adaptive design. Rendered to real. When we talk about rendering, all the designers must be able to relate with all the softwares we use. So here we are talking about how the rise of virtual intelligence is set to revolutionize design programs. It will help us streamlining the process of future sourcing, collaborating, and creative workflows. So here we are seeing brands are leveraging responsive and technical shortcuts in effort to lay a stronger foundation for their production pipelines. We are talking here about VR headsets, let's say. So they are an upgraded process. They're helping to upgrade the process of rendering and 3D modeling. We are also looking at examples like 3D virtual fabric showrooms that connect overseas suppliers to their developers in real time. Now, from a consumer standpoint, intelligent wearable are steadily growing in popularity, and they are introducing the new ways to power our senses, monitor and track performance. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I think I need to hurry up, but only 2 points remaining. 3. So next, a few examples quickly we'll discuss. Wearables will support new immersive design applications. Then we have the rapid increase of digital and virtual worlds will revolutionize material sourcing. And lastly, e-textiles will innovate responsive design solutions. We'll quickly jump on to material purity, and material purity, by the word we can sense it means simplicity. Quality over quantity is the idea here. Now, post-COVID research has revealed that consumers are willing to pay a premium price for simplicity. Suppliers are sticking to the basics and focusing on pure substrates, monomaterials, and natural elements as powerful primers of quality, reliability, and longevity. Now, slow techniques, the solution here is slow techniques and small batch approaches will create an opportunity for brands to update and improve their core material offerings. We have a few emerging opportunities here. Skin caring naturals will take preference over single-use synthetics. The shift towards sustainable simplicity will become the biggest driver in the monomaterial usage, and material longevity will become a standard priority in the luxury market. Next we have is skillful mastery. It's about offerings that we are involving craftsmanship here. So moving away from a culture of mass-produced sameness, consumers are gravitating towards offerings that are imbued with greater meaning and skill, fueling a positive re-evaluation of craftsmanship for brands and suppliers. One consideration here is well-crafted designs, since they are heavily reliant on material choice and the techniques. So suppliers are thinking about it, and they are coming up with new material offerings that take the design aspect into mind. And they're also merging them with sustainability and ethics. So the conclusion here is ethical manufacturing for material which prioritizes worker health, safety and wages becomes a top priority amongst brands who wants to be a source for good. Also, in this age of conscious consumption, millennial and Gen Zers are socially invested in the brands they support. So brands can connect with these demographics by aligning authentically with their values, forging meaningful collaborations, and addressing social and environmental issues through their production lines. The examples here are conscious manufacturing will foster social change, food waste dyes will provide new sustainable solutions to long-standing dye practices, and upcycling will become a new form of couture. Lastly, we have material morphology. Now, in this climate of uncertainty, designing materials for adaptability means that there is no end to how something might need to adapt and evolve. The focus here is the newest generation of technical fabric from suppliers are emerging with multi-use properties and morphing characteristics, like slowly transforming characteristics that allow consumers to adapt to all uncertainties, to all eventualities. Focusing on uncertainty, a growing focus on 4D printing as a future fabrication also creates an opportunities for material to move towards transformative futures. From engineered finishes like UV resistant, temperature regulation, and solar powered innovations that harness the power of sun to fuel our products or spaces, all considerations are equipped for uncertainty. Yes, I think it's done. I'll just quickly, yes. So the 4 takeaways of this entire session is I will hurry up else. Leverage nature as a driving force for good, optimize adaptability to refabricate performance, get back to the basics, prioritize simplicity and longevity, from fiber to finish, integrate wellness at every level. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience, and if you have any questions, I don't want to hurry. I really want to continue and I want to talk more about it, but we can always connect over this. We can connect over email. Please reach out to me, and I will be right there. I can also share a report on this and we can take the conversation forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Srishti, for such an interesting presentation and highlighting the importance of sustainability in fashion as well as materials. It is much needed in today's global climatic environment, and it is so interesting to see the work of Fashion Snoops to achieve this by reusing, regeneration, and using natural materials. Can I please request Mr. Akshay Kapoor to come up on stage to present the momentum to Ms. Srishti and the